the election or the Dropbox issue, any of those things. Yes, would you like to come forward? Sharon, if you would just introduce yourself and then you can proceed.
Sure. Okay, my name is Sharon Zook. Is this turned on?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Sharon Zook. I live in the city of Lebanon, 525 South Broad Street. And as being a citizen in the county and in the city, I find out a lot about needs among our community, particularly when it relates to our kids. Most of the times I get these kids or families into the appropriate support system that we have in our community, because our community has a lot of support systems. But a week ago, I found out about a situation with some kids that I don't know what to do next, and it's of public interest because it has to do with a family that is, these kids are utilizing resources within the county. So they are at risk, and they're not sure what to do next. I'm not sure what to do next, so I thought this might be the best meeting of the minds. So these kids moved into the city the year of 2015 to 2016 school year. They're in transitional housing from July of 2016 through the Community Action Partnership Program, at which time their mom started the required classes, which required applying for public housing, and they are on the public housing list. Meanwhile, she interned for the city, was hired under the CAP office, and worked in transportation since December of 2016, transitioned to full-time June of 2017. 2017, their mom signed the lease in permanent affordable housing and was paying $300 a month plus the electric, and then started saving for the down payment of a house. Took the first-time homebuyers class in 2019, and by then was paying $350 a month in rent and saving for this down payment. By 2021, she saved $15,000 on a salary of $25,000 a year, which also supported their household of 3. September 2021, she got COVID, but returned to work after 2 weeks and continued outpatient therapy for COVID-related problems. But by June of 2022, there were long COVID symptoms that the doctors were trying to treat, and her PCP, an occupational therapist, recommended a leave of absence from her county job while they were treating that. She used up her sick time, vacation time, and her personal days. By mid-August, the paid time was used up, so she dipped into her down payment money, continued paying rent, car payment, electric bill, and eventually needed to cash out and pay the penalties to use her 401k savings to meet the family's needs. October 2023, a classmate of the student got caught wind overhearing a conversation that her classmate was about at risk of not being able to pay rent. So out of concern for her fellow student, she set up a GoFundMe account, and the students raised $1,200. On October 25, their mom opened a letter from the county that stated the lease of the property will terminate the end of January, and it will not be renewed. She was shocked. She thought that this was transitional housing until she gets to the top of the list for the public housing. Just some background. The property at 539 North 7th Street was bought by the County of Lebanon in 1999 for $59,900, and it was leased for low-income housing through the CAP program. For those of you who don't know, CAP is a Community Action Partnership program that makes the claim that we work to end poverty across the county. Across the U.S., 11.4% live in poverty, but within the city of Lebanon, that is 23%, nearly 1/4 of our population. While Lebanon City's median household income is $47,000, this household operated with a high of $27,000 in the year of 2021. Even at $200 to $300 per month, the investment of our taxpayers from the purchase of 1999 has been recouped on this property. Currently, we have 2 of our Lebanon School District kids living in this house, and while they remain on the public housing list. The senior in Lebanon has been on the honor roll since coming into the school district. He has qualified for a full scholarship to Lebanon Valley College through the Lebanon Valley Educational Partnership Program. He's not in trouble with the law, does his homework. He starts walking to school before I get out of bed in the morning. No attendance problems. There's no drugs, no history of community service, being in trouble with any part of the law. He's part of the ACF, the American Culinary Federation program. He's in the Student Assistance Program. He networks with his guidance counselors, teachers, mentors, and Lebanon Valley College. Him and his younger brother are obviously doing well in school, being kept off the street and focusing on their homework. Straight A's in math and science. However, there is this concern. He's concerned about whether he's going to have his necessities met in terms of basic needs if they lose their housing. On February 1, Karen, the housing manager for CAP, texted their mother saying, quote, "Our agency has canceled all utilities we were responsible for as of 2/1/24, as that property will be going up for auction," unquote. Their mother texted that she did not receive a formal proper eviction notice. The response texted back was that they were not evicting her, just saying the lease will not be removed, saying this was, again, quote, "proper notice per administration and county office," unquote. February 2, she called the commissioner's office to speak with the commissioner, but was told no commissioners were in the office. That she should email Litz instead because Litz checks her emails over the weekend and would respond by Monday. There's been no response to date. Monday, February 5th, Mid-Penn Legal advised calling the commissioner's office again regarding filling the oil, which was down to 1/8 of a tank. She was told again that no commissioners were in the office. But after mentioning she is the person at 539 North 7th Street, she was transitioned to Jamie Wolgemuth. He said he would not supply any more oil. She said she was informed that the utilities couldn't be turned off while going through the eviction process. She was told they don't need to go through the eviction process because there's no lease. And the county's only responsible to keep the pipes from freezing. Jamie chuckled and said, "I don't know what kind of, quote, false hope, unquote, Mid-Penn Legal gave you." She repeated that she was told the county can't just turn off utilities. To which he responded, "Do you just expect to live off taxpayers' money?" Then he told her she was offered public housing and refused it.
Maybe it would be better if she came in to talk. I mean, this is a lot of quoting of somebody who's not here.
Okay.
Here. I mean, I would rather hear it, you know.
Okay.
Because my understanding is that I never got I remember getting a message to call you, and so I don't know why if you called in you wouldn't leave a message to have a call back with your name. That's what most people do, leave a message. So I apologize if I got a message and didn't get back to you. But anyway, I just want to make sure that, because you're making some accusations here.
Okay, understood. However, an hour later, the oil was filled.
I received a message it would be filled the next day.
Okay, so February 7th, the letter was hand-delivered that was signed by Solicitor Matthew Bugli, stating, per terms of the lease, she was paying $300 per month for rent and has not submitted rent since October 2023. There are canceled checks, I've seen them, for $350 for rent, including November's rent, which was the last payment until this is figured out. Per Mid-Penn attorney, I've seen the email with this. She said that the CAP administrator says they lost the lease So she provided MinPen with a boilerplate lease of something else, not a county lease. Okay, but this attorney lease, if the rent was supposed to be $300 a month per a Solicitor Bugli's letter, which I saw, and she was paying $350 a month for the past 4 years, she's overpaid in lease by 8 months when you do the math. So rather than return the overpayment, which if she's under a $300 lease but has paid, could these people live in their home until they can get into public housing? A letter February 14th by Lucy Mace of Lebanon County said the family is at the top of the list, but now the family requires a 3-bedroom, not a 2-bedroom, which when she applied earlier was a 2-bedroom, but because the senior turned 18, by law they're required to have their own bedroom. Requirement is met and the 3-bedroom unit comes available, the family can move into that housing. According to the county budget, Lebanon County, the CAP program utilizes 1.7 of the county's budget. So 2 cents of our to the dollar of our money is going into keeping these kids into housing. So, you know, I'm not sure what to say. I talked to the son and said, "What do you want me to tell? What do you want me to know?" He's in school today. And I said, "I'll go speak on your behalf." And he said, "First of all, how do you lose the lease? None of this makes sense, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up my grades to finish school and my new job, which is with Chef Brown. He's in the chef program without the basic necessities of housing."
I think is that it?
Yeah, that's what I want. You know, I just want to know. I'm concerned for these kids.
I understand that. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll refer this to Matthew Bugli, our solicitor,
Okay.
to talk with MidPen. You
Okay.
You have an attorney that you're dealing with. Let's.
Is MidPen
No.
representing?
No, MidPen's not. MidPen only was MidPen. There was an appointment set up in November for MidPen, and they only checked into oil being delivered because utilities needed to be continued until no one was in the house. So
Okay.
MidPen,
That's where it was.
the oil. That was the only thing.
She's a client of MidPen.
No.
So
Okay.
to have
No,
that
they checked into
engage
oil.
would
Okay. Well,
just
no.
clarify
I
that.
Something to suggest?
Yeah, I was just going to pass along my contact information.
Okay.
I just wanted to say I did respond, but I had to check about the house. I think I even contacted Sheriff Marley and said, "Is this address on the share sale kind of thing?" And he said no, and then I went online and saw where the county owned it, and I did some more checking, and in fact, the senator's office contacted me, and I passed all the information on to them, which I thought, okay, they're gonna take care of it, and they'll give it to you, because I was in a conference, and
That was back in January.
yeah,
Yes.
it was a while, but
I had sent an email in February.
I did find,
Yeah, it is owned by the county. I checked.
yeah, so I did respond, and I'm sorry if it didn't get through to you. I relied on the senator's office a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
to get back to you because I was predisposed.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So I mean,
Well,
I mean, I'm just putting it out there because it's an issue that we need the meeting of the minds to make sure that our kids are not on the street.
I understand that's the goal. And, I'm not sure this
You
is
know,
the,
like
this is the forum for all
Right.
discussion. I'd rather not. This is public
No, we
comment.
don't. Right. We don't need to discuss it. I just want to make
wanna
sure
use
that
this
you're
forum
aware of
to
the
bring it to-
aware of the problem, so that there can be a resolution.
Okay, well, we will get together with
Thank you.
the parties involved, and we have to get to some conclusion, yes.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of our February 1st meeting and our workshop of February 7th.
Motion to approve those minutes as presented.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, so moved. Move on to our treasurer's report. Mrs. Neuin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We had receipts on February 13th and 14th of $1,775,352.56. That brought us to a cash total of $2,376,987.85. Our expenditures this week were $1,987,855.06. The tax claim is $55,892.65, leaving us a balance of $333,240.14.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report subject to audit.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the treasurer's report. Any questions regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so ordered. Thank you, Stella. Good morning. I'd like to just introduce yourself and
Michelle Snavely, Director of Human Resources. Under Personnel Transactions, Resignations and Terminations, Hallie Weaver, Caseworker 2 and Children and Youth resignation effective February 9th. James Giles, Deputy Warden of the Jail, resignation effective February 12th. Jeremiah Cruz, Full-Time Correctional Officer at the Jail, resignation effective February 16th. John Flint III, Full-Time Correctional Officer at the Jail, termination effective February 8th. And Lance Mullins, Full-Time Booking Agent in DA Central Booking, rescind acceptance of employment effective February 5th.
Motion to approve those resignations and terminations.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve those transactions. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Under leaves of absence, Amy Leitner from Area Agency on Aging, a 4-week leave of absence, all PTO, effective March 11th with an expected return date of April 8th.
Make a motion to approve the request for a leave of absence.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the LOA. Any questions? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Under changes of status, transfers, and promotions, I have several motions. The first, to approve the 2024 Civil Service Compensation Plan, which pertains to the Children and Youth Services MHIDEI Area Agency on Aging and the Commission on Drug and Alcohol Abuse funding for the 2024-2025 fiscal year.
Motion to approve.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2024 Civil Service Comp Plan. Any questions regarding the motion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Motion to approve the recommendation of Janelle Gechter to retitle the program assistant positions within the Renova Center to therapy aides effective immediately.
Make a motion to approve Janelle's request.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Director Gector's request. Any questions? If not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Motion to approve the recommendation of Barbara Smith, Prothonotary Clerk of Courts, to reclassify a current union part-time court clerk position to a full-time General Clerk C position in the Prothonotary's office at a grade 4 on the union pay chart effective immediately.
Motion to approve that request.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve Prothonotary Smith's request. Any discussion? If not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Debbie Shearer, promotion from Caseworker 1 in Children and Youth to Caseworker 2 at the rate of $1,661.28 biweekly effective February 18th. Mitchell Dowdy, demotion from Lance Corporal at the jail to full-time correctional officer at the jail at the rate of $24.98 per hour effective back to September 25th, 2023. Carlos Fallo Cabrera, promotion from full-time correctional officer at the jail to Lance Corporal at the rate of $22.71 per hour plus $1 per hour Lance Corporal pay, effective February 18th. Samuel Walter, promotion from full-time correctional officer at the jail to private first class at the rate of $24.46 per hour plus 65 cents per hour private first class pay, effective February 18th. Alyssa Unks, promotion from Secretary C in the District Attorney's Office to Administrative Assistant at the rate of $1,396.03 biweekly, effective February 19th. Renee Ream, promotion from full-time direct support aide at Renova to full-time therapy aide at Renova, at the rate of $17.78 per hour, effective February 19th.
Make a motion to approve those transfers and promotions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those transactions. Any questions regarding the motion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign, so moved.
Under other transactions, I have a motion to approve the recommendation of Adrian Laser, Administrator of Area Agency on Aging, to create one additional Aging Care Manager Supervisor 2 position at a grade 15 on the non-union salary chart, effective immediately.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve Director Laser's request. Any questions regarding the motion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
President Judge Towalk would like to hire Michelle Embreeze as an Administrative Assistant 1 at the rate of $1,216.30 biweekly, effective February 26th. President Judge Towalk would like to hire Adriana Pacheco as a probation aide at the rate of $1,216.30 biweekly, effective February 12th. President Judge Towalk would like to hire Sharon Schaefer as a collection officer at the rate of $1,307.52 biweekly, effective February 20th. President Judge Towalk would like to hire Billy Joe Gange as a collection officer at the rate of $1,307.52 biweekly, effective February 26th. President Judge Towalk would like to hire Mary E. Miller as an office support 2 at the rate of $1,131.44 biweekly, effective February 26th. Renova Center would like to hire Tiffany Pierce as a full-time direct support aide at the rate of $16.21 per hour, effective February 20th. Renova Center would like to hire Heather Stanberry as a full-time direct support aide at the rate of $16.21 per hour, effective February 26th. The sheriff would like to hire Bo Moyer as a full-time deputy sheriff at the rate of $1,595.47 biweekly, effective February 20th. And the sheriff would like to hire McKee Thomas as a full-time deputy sheriff at the rate of $1,595.47 biweekly, effective March 4th.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the hires and rehires.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve those transactions. Questions? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
If there are no questions regarding the transactions presented, is there a motion to adopt those transactions onto the salary board?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the salary board transactions. Discussion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Morning.
Good morning.
Holly, just introduce yourself and then you give us some.
Very good. Good morning, Holly Leahy, Administrator for Lebanon County Mental Health, Intellectual Disabilities, Early Intervention Programs. I'm here this morning to present fiscal year 2023-2024 provider contract amendments. There are 13 amendments in total. That would be 6 for early intervention, 6 for intellectual disabilities, and then 1 for mental health. The early intervention, as that is an entitlement program, will all be covered through the state of Pennsylvania. And then the remaining would be covered through our current allocations through state, federal, and county monies. And we are not seeking any additional county tax dollars for these expenditures. The total of the contract changes is $130,950.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve those contract amendments.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the 23-24 contract amendments as presented. Any questions? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. So ordered.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning, Matthew Bugli, County Solicitor. I have two items for the board this morning. The first is an easement agreement between the County of Lebanon and Mount Gretna Heights. This is pertaining to a well that is located approximately 28 feet over the property line between Mount Gretna Heights and the property Governor Dick. There was an agreement that was entered into back in 2002 between the parties. It was discovered, though, that the agreement was never recorded in the Recorder of Deeds office. So I was contacted and I drafted an addendum incorporating the full terms of the 2002 agreement into a new agreement. To present for recording, it would need original signatures, which is what I have for the board this morning. And so I've had good communication with the parties with regard to Mount Gretna Heights, and they are on board with this as well. And so I present it this morning to the board.
Motion?
Make a motion to approve the new agreement for the well.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this addendum. Any questions? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. So ordered.
The second item I have this morning is a resolution. This is authorizing Lebanon Transit to file with the Department of State articles of amendment. This is pertaining to the life of their entity. It was incorporated in the 1970s through the Department of State. I had communication with Attorney Jill Nagy, who represents Lebanon Transit, and this is something that Attorney Nagy and the Lebanon Transit Board wanted to get in front of, so I drafted a resolution authorizing Lebanon Transit to file articles of amendment with the Department of State to extend their life for another 50 years.
Okay.
Motion to approve that resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this Lebanon Transit resolution. Any questions regarding the motion? This will go into effect immediately.
Correct.
Any questions? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can see it. Is it just marked? Boy.
Four of them.
You don't mind if I stand? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that may be like expedite basis. Morning.
Good morning.
That's yours.
Morning.
Good morning. Just out of respect for time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 minutes? Okay.
Well,
Sorry, Mark.
next item is at 10:30, so.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
We're on time.
Okay. I'll get started.
Yep.
All right, my name's Brett Holland. I'm with Stifel, and my business partner, Mike Battistelli, is with us today as well with Stifel. And we have two gentlemen from CS McKee. CS McKee manages about 32% of the pension, so they have a big piece of it that they oversee. But Mr. Mark Gensheimer is the president of CS McKee, and Mr. Harish Ayar is the senior vice president. He also has a PhD in biomedical engineering. I wanted to mention that because that's quite respectable. So if you take your report out there that we have.
He's also been to Spooky Nook, so.
Yeah. So, there you go. I didn't know that part. So, all right. So if you can turn to page 4, 4 of 11 in the report that we normally go through.
Is that the one in the plastic or?
It is the one in the plastic. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So page 4 of 11. This is just the standard report that we go through with you all. And this is for the fourth quarter of last year in typical fashion. Mike will have a follow-up with a little bit more year-to-date up to here in the last few days. But this report, again, is beginning October 1st and ending December 31st of last year. So in the top left-hand section there, we have the current period, which again is the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter, your beginning balance started off at $124,893,670. There were withdrawals during that time frame for the pensioners of about $2.7 million. The return, or the return during that time, was about $11.9 million. And then the end of the year balance was $134,146,407. Then I'll move 2 columns over to the right, if you would. That's just a 1-year performance number. Excuse me, I should say that fourth quarter below that is the fourth quarter had a return of 9.71%. I'm sorry. And then if you move 2 columns to your right, you see at the top there it says a 1-year period. So at the beginning of 2023 last year, the balance was for the pension was $123 million. During that year, there was about $7.6 million of withdrawals for the pensioners. There was appreciation of $18.3 million, and again, that year-end balance was $134 million. So, any questions on any of that at all?
Strong year-end health.
It was.
Very strong.
It was. Last year was kind of a unique year from the standpoint of the first half of the year. Because of all the interest in AI and all that type of thing, the markets bumped up about 16.9% in the first half of the year. But of that return, around 15% of that return, of that 16 or almost 17% return, was made up of 7 companies.
Mm-hmm.
So those 7 companies really pulled it significantly in that direction for the first half of last
Those are
year.
the Amazons, Apples, and
The Magnificent Seven, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Down to the bottom right-hand portion of that page is the pie chart down there, which is just your allocation at the end of the year. Equities on the far right side of 63%, fixed income of 30%, alternative investments, which again is the REIT portfolio, the real estate investment trust, of 6%, and then cash equivalents of around 2% is what it was at that time. Any questions with that at all?
I'm not sure if this is a
Nope.
relevant question, but the other 493, what was their number?
Well, for the first half of last year, it was about 1.7% is what it was.
Wow.
So, and you all do have those Magnificent Seven in different portions or percentages and so on in your portfolio. So, and that benefited you certainly in the first half of last year.
Thank you.
Yes. I'll have to go to page 6 then, if I could ask you to turn to that page 6. And page 6 just gives a little bit more of a time frame to look at. And over to the right-hand side, you see at the top the 1, 3, 5, and 10-year periods. And on the bottom of each of those columns, your 1-year return again was 15.33%, and again that was last year. 3-year number of 4.63%, and that's per year. A 5-year number of 8.71%, and then the 10-year number, which I know you all keep a close eye on, of 6.27%, and that's per year. So any questions with any of that at all? All right. With that, Mike has some updated numbers.
Just give you a brief update. I always say that these are unaudited numbers until we get to the end of the quarter and we come back in. But through yesterday, the pension plan stands at $135,064,863, and we are up 1.67% year to date. So off to a decent start. It's early yet, but it's off to a decent start. And the allocation really hasn't changed from what Brett just reported. There's really two kind of housekeeping things or make you aware of. One is we would like to, we've had a good run up. Commissioner Phillips, you had mentioned about the fourth quarter was really good and off to a pretty good start. So we'd like to move 4% out of equities since it's at a kind of a pretty good high and move that into cash. And what that'll do is allow us to make those distributions, those monthly distributions for the retirees. And then that'll give us about 6 months worth of normal distributions. Okay. And then your annual contribution should come in, and we'll probably keep that in cash as well for the remainder of the year. So that would be about $5.4 million, 4% represents. So any questions on that so far?
Just the one thing is when we're saying cash, that'll be put in treasury bills, so you're still earning interest on that. Sorry.
What will that leave in equities then?
If we trim about 4%, you're going to be right around 60% in
Oh,
equities.
okay, which is-
So still within the investment policy
Alright.
statement. Okay. And I think after our last meeting, we had left with Jamie, I think distributed to the commissioners here on the board, the investment policy statement. Just didn't know if there was any thoughts or conversations about that.
I didn't have it.
We're not recommending any. We're comfortable with where you're at. It's not something that generally changes often.
I think, I don't want to mess with it because it's working.
Yeah.
Maybe the last change was the rate, maybe the cash or something.
Well, we changed the range in the equities. We could go up to 70%. We have the ability to do that, but we're not recommending that at this time. It just gave us a little latitude if we felt like it was warranted, we could do that.
Okay. Any interest in any adjustments to this policy that we have? Okay.
We'd just ask then, Jamie, if we could just get signatures just for the year. We generally renew this every year. Yep.
Mr. Controller, do you have anything?
No, I think it's the policy with the last change we made, I think benefited us all.
Okay.
If there's no other questions at this point, I'm going to turn it over to the gentleman from CS McKee and let them speak to their portfolios and maybe the markets a little bit in general.
So why don't I start off? It's good to see everybody. A lot of time, we probably, about a third of our business are Pennsylvania counties. So it's, we do a lot of work at the various conventions, and we are really fortunate to work with about 35 of the, about 60 counties that have pension plans in the state. I asked Harish to join us. He is the co-head of our equity group, and as Mike and Brett were saying, we manage large cap value for and then the fixed income portfolio. So I just thought I'd make just a couple comments on performance. It was a really interesting year last year. As they were saying, it started off really strong, and then it really tailed off in that third quarter. But then the fourth quarter, your large cap value equity portfolio was up almost 11% just in the fourth quarter. For the year was up 11.77. We've been fortunate enough to outperform our benchmarks for 1, 3, 5, 7, and 10 years. And I really think it's just the discipline that Harish and the team have kept in place there for a long time. And then the same story on the fixed income side. I'm kind of a youngster at McKee. The fixed income group have been there. The 3 senior portfolio managers have been there 27, 25, and 22 years. And they're still relatively young. They started their careers there. But the portfolio in the fourth quarter was up almost 7%. For a very conservative fixed income portfolio. Frankly, we were kind of surprised because the year before interest rates had gone up about 5%, and it was the first down year in the fixed income markets in a long, long time. But they did recover well. For the year, they were up about 6.2%. And then the year prior, when fixed income trailed, it was down 2.2% for the 3-year. So that was the first time in probably there was a bull market in bonds for 47 years. So it was the first time the market was down that much, and it took the 3-year number down. But we also forgot last year, we had a regional bank panic earlier in the year. And we tend to forget a lot of the volatility. And anytime there's a lot of volatility in the market, it really benefits our team because we do a lot of trading in the portfolio. And so that gave us an opportunity to buy a lot of government agencies, which really helped the performance through. And that was the main reason why we were able to outperform last year. So again, we feel like we've sort of hit an equilibrium in the fixed income markets. We don't see as much volatility as there's been over the last 2 years. And we're expecting returns in the fixed income markets somewhere between 5 and 6% for next year, which is similar to last year, but a lot better than it was 2 years prior. So we're really positive on the fixed income markets, and we think that it's going to be a little calmer than it's been over the last few years. So unless anybody has any questions, I'll turn it over to Harish for some comments on the equity side.
Thanks, Mark. Good morning. So as Brett stated out, last year was quite an interesting year, and I think the one coming into 2023, I think generally speaking, most market strategists were probably a little bit too pessimistic, given what 2020 kind of gave us. You know, is the U.S. going into a recession? What's happening with inflation? Are kind of the prime questions that were on everybody's mind. Certainly, as it played out, the S&P ended up north of 25%. For the year, and also as Brett stated, it was a very narrow market. Of that 25% return, nearly 60% is attributed to those 7 names. We started to see a little bit of a broadening market in the third quarter, but then flip that change when you go into the fourth quarter, it just went back to those 7. And even as we start into 2024, we're seeing those names really kind of lead the way again. If we look at the equal weighted, the S&P's and cap weighted index, year to date, I think it's up about 5% The equal weighted index is flat to down slightly. And certainly, if you just look at one name, NVIDIA, it's up 40% in a month and a half. Right? I mean, it's kind of silly. But I think, you know, the biggest question is, what is the Fed going to do? And what is the consumer going to do? So remember, the consumer is 66-70% of the economy. And although unemployment remains very low, historically low numbers, the labor participation rate is still below pre-pandemic levels, which is kind of a little peculiar. But we're starting to see some cracks in the foundation. How they manifest, obviously we can't tell, you know, we don't have a crystal ball, but you're starting to see delinquency rates with credit cards, auto loans, even mortgages kind of tick up. They're still fairly low, but you're starting to see those rates tick up, and it's something that we have to kind of pay attention to going forward. You know, I think the old adage, never bet against the U.S. consumer, is holding true so far, but again, it's something to watch. And ultimately, what is the Fed going to do? So, you know, the Fed raised rates at the fastest pace historically over the last, you know, year and a half, 2 years. They were certainly late to the table with inflation, fighting inflation. But even with the CPI print this week, inflation is sticky. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, if you're trying to get into shape and lose weight, you know, the first 10 pounds is easy. The last 10 pounds is really, really hard. And I think that's what we're kind of seeing. You know, shelter remains very sticky, and you're starting to see some other little fragments of inflation just not going away. So when we came into 2024, I think most, if you look at the major Wall Street houses, they're expecting 5-6 rate cuts this year. With the recent news, March is out. You know, May, possibly. So I think those 5 to 6 will probably come down to maybe 3. You know, I mean, you know, ballpark it. But when do they cut? I mean, if you look at the market's expecting the Fed to be aggressive. If that doesn't happen, it changes the game completely. So I think they are data dependent. They kept saying that they're data dependent. So we'll kind of, I guess, wait and see. I don't think, you know, if you look at 2022 to 2022 and 2023, the S&P basically did a V. You know, it was down and then came straight back up. Essentially, you gained nothing in 2 years. I don't expect anything like 2022, but I don't expect anything like 2023 either. You know, I think it's election year, and given his history, election years are positive. I think if you look back in the last 70 years, there have been 3 negative years during a presidential election cycle. So that being said, again, I think the economy is generally strong. If you told me that we have a conflict in the Middle East, conflict in Ukraine, regional banking crisis, and China kind of weak, we'll put it that way, the economy weak, that, you know, you have oil at 70 to 90, GDP growth 3+%. These things generally don't make a lot of sense. They're not congruous. But the U.S. is, you know, kind of keeps moving along at a good clip. But there are concerns that are creeping higher. Just one in particular would be if we just look at the U.S. federal debt service. So, our federal debt is $34 trillion. I mean, at some point these numbers are kind of nuts. But in fiscal year 2022, the federal government spent about $460 billion just on servicing the debt. Fiscal year 2023, $660 billion. This fiscal year 24 is projected to be close to $800 billion. That's our defense budget. So, again, there are cracks appearing. How they manifest, how we do it, it's yet to be seen. Managing a soft landing or no landing or hard landing or whatever, the Fed doesn't have a good history of doing these things, but maybe they can pull it off this year. This time, we'll see. I'll stop there. I mostly cover healthcare and energy, but I'm happy to speak on, kind of broadly, any questions you may have.
And we did, there's several charts in here that may or may not be of interest on everything from, the inflation, economic numbers, et cetera, et cetera. We just thought we'd leave it with you.
Jamie?
All done?
Yeah, we'll continue to make our investment every year for the ARC, which is the other piece of the equation, keeping that commitment to the pensioners as well. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really
For
appreciate it.
attendance this morning and for your work, and gentlemen, thank you. Do you want to reconvene at 10:30?
I mean, it's up to you, but I have no problem continuing.
I just want to get some people in. We're going to continue in a moment. Okay, we're up to, we're reconvening our regular meeting, and we're moving on to the next agenda item. Commissioner Kuhn has something he wanted to review.
Oh, yeah. We had brought this up before, but never finalized anything. But Jennifer Kuzo at the Visit Lebanon Valley has been receiving information on this Pennsylvania 250th centennial celebration. It's a statewide effort, and each county is being asked to form a commission and move this forward. There's nothing specific we have to do, but there's plenty of things we might do and can do, and there's people interested. Jennifer, for example, the state has done a really nice video, and it showcases the importance of Pennsylvania and the history of the development in the United States, and it features many places in Pennsylvania, like Hershey, like the Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, obviously, with the Independence Hall and everything else. We don't get any mention, but Jennifer sees this as an opportunity to create a video featuring.
We did do a resolution, didn't we?
I'm sorry, what?
Didn't we pass a resolution before?
Mm-hmm.
I thought we did.
This one's different. This one's added.
So anyway, I would like to move this concept forward. I believe the Tourist Bureau needs to be one of the key players involved in it. It's not the Tourist Bureau's responsibility. It's not any one person's responsibility. It's going to be our opportunity to take advantages, to plan events and things to celebrate that centennial anniversary. And this resolution outlines that, and also appoints Josephine Ames, who is a member of the Visit Lebanon Valley Bureau, to be our point person and heading up that commission. I met with her to talk about this. She's willing to accept that responsibility, and talked about how those meetings would be scheduled, maybe monthly, beginning as soon as we can put together the people we would have input into who would also serve on that committee. We can attend those meetings and have input ourselves. It's going to be up to us to help form that. So I'd like to make a motion to adopt this resolution and appointing Josephine Ames as our chair of that effort.
Josephine is a wonderful woman, but are there any rules that we have to follow? I mean, will this be also to the national, or I mean the statewide
That's the whole idea, is to coordinate our efforts with the state initiatives. I don't
Through the
know
tourist
specifically what the state and the federal organizations are planning, but yes, this would be our way to communicate and facilitate if they need our assistance or we might need theirs.
I'll second the motion.
I'm sorry, yes, I was just thinking.
Any
Oh, I'm
other-
sorry, well,
No, that's all right.
you
No,
have a
that's right.
motion and a second. Any additional questions, comments?
Yeah, I just would like to make
This
sure
is
that we follow up and make sure we're following all the rules that are laid out by the state or whoever is in charge.
Again, nothing's been planned yet other than to put a commission together.
Okay.
So, we have a motion and a second. Would you be willing to second it?
I think you did.
Yeah, I did, but I didn't.
That's fine.
I thought we were in the middle of needing a second. So,
If you did, that's sufficient.
Okay, all in favor of the motion? Oh, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved. That was unanimous.
With the caveat that they follow up with the state, make sure
No,
we're
that's not
following
the
all the
motion.
rules.
Sure, comply with the rules. Go ahead.
All right, I have 3 requests for hotel tax grant funds. The first being from the Mount Gretna, the Mount Gretna School of Art. They would like to apply for funding to make repairs to their artist facility on Birch Avenue in Mount Gretna. They conduct residential art programs attracting artists and visitors from across the region. And they are doing work to repairs and such to the bath and showers and the art workroom to their facility. And the exterior has some wood rot issues. They're asking for $7,500 out of $24,000 grant or project.
Make a motion to approve the project as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the Mount Gretna School of Art for $7,500 from hotel tax. Any discussion? I do want to let you know that we have a shrinking balance, and I kind of mention that every month, but we may have at some point to address that in a max on we can always make exceptions, but you know. But is there any other discussion on this particular motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Second is for the Mount Gretna Area Historical Society, a research library upgrade. Total cost to this is $8,807. They're requesting $5,000, and they attach a description of what they intend to do. Let's see, $5,000. We used to cover the remaining costs such as flooring and a smart television.
I'll make a motion to approve that request for $5,000.
Second.
Okay. Motion and second has been made. Any questions? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
The Community of Lebanon Association is requesting a flower watering for their Cumberland Street flowers from Cumberland from 6th to 9th Streets. Total project cost $14,000. This is purchase and maintenance of watering of hanging planters and baskets downtown Lebanon to be performed by Stony Bridge Landscaping. And this is, they're requesting a $10,000 grant of the $14,000, which as you're aware is more than the $7,500 cap you currently have.
You know, I prefer to make a motion for a cap of $7,500.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. I will just say historically, we have waived the cap for this particular project because it is one of the premier projects on Cumberland Street that thousands of cars see every day when you have the flowers. But I will I mean, we already have a motion and a second. With that speech, I would have gone to the 10,000, even in light of our dwindling funds, because my goal eventually is to get to 5,000 as a cap, and then we can make exceptions when needed or until things get replenished in the hotel tax. But anyway, we have a motion and a second. That's where I'm at.
I understand that your concept of moving the cap to 5,000. I think that would be a good idea, and considering that was my concern of why I went along with this. So I would offer an amendment to fund the full $10,000. This, if we could revisit the establishment of the new cap limit.
I don't think that's fair to people like Jay Noble, who followed the rules and submitted a $7,500 request. We're not turning down the proposal. We are amending it to comply so we don't run out of money, that we can do as much good in the community as we can. I think that I think we should leave it at the 7,500.
Did you withdraw your motion, Mike, and then do a new motion, or what did you?
I'm sorry.
Did you
He amended it.
He just amended it.
Amendment. Well, I'm willing to, I don't know, where are we with that? Yes, Robert's rules. Oh,
Can I call a point of order here? I
Yeah.
don't know if that's allowable, but it was Joe Ellen's motion. So I don't know how Mike is amending.
oh,
Tom's
I'm
motion.
sorry. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
And I didn't accept the
Right.
amendment because I
Oh.
think 7,500 is acceptable. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, well then, you're withdrawing your, what are you doing? You're amending?
No, we have.
Okay, well, then we have.
to take a
then we have
vote
to
on
vote the
our
motion.
Yeah,
as-
then we
as
have
it
to
was
vote on the motion as presented. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. So I'd like to make a motion now to fund that full $10,000 request, but also establish a new cap moving forward of $5,000.
What was the motion again? I'm sorry.
To fund their request of $10,000 and establish a new cap.
All in the same motion?
I think that it's contradictory.
Well, historically, we have done this for CLA. It's the county seat, it's the most traveled road in the county. To compare it to fixing the porch at, making repairs to the facility at Mount Gretna is a good investment also. But I'm just saying, historically, we have waived the cap to accommodate them. They do it through fundraising and through other means, but we've assisted in this. So that's where my reference is to the historical support for this. So I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we waive the cap and we provide $10,000 to the CLA for the flowers downtown. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye, because I don't think we should drop the 5,000. I think we should keep the $7,500 cap. I think the city would be happy for that money.
It's not the city.
Well, it's in the city.
Yeah, there you go. You have that. Was that motion comprehensive? Both? Okay. All right, what else you got?
Appointments to serve on the Lebanon County Library System Board. First for Mike Battistelli, representing the Lebanon Community Library, and also for Marie Hipschman, representing the Richland Library. Those terms would go to December 31st of 2026.
Okay, motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those two submissions. Any questions? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So
And lastly is a proclamation for the Scout BSA Expo ratify the proclamation which was previously signed and presented for their Scout Week, February 5th through the 9th.
Make a motion to ratify the Scout Expo proclamation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions to ratify the Boy Scouts proclamation? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, so moved. Does that do it, Jeremy?
Yep.
Okay, we thank you for your attendance and your input. We stand and look for more to do here.
What has happened to our MPO board meeting, policy board meeting?
It's over.
It's been held.
I'm sorry?
It's been held. They moved down the hall.
Oh, we were just not in attendance.
Right.
Okay.
I
Got
wasn't.
it.
Hang on,
Okay,
they're still
we stand
in
adjourned.
meeting. Okay, you're
Stand
adjourned.
adjourned.
Okay.
Is Joe Speed still living in